So we have a blank report open here. Let's go ahead and load the orders table and the returns table and also the people table into this just one more time. I don't want to confuse you, because if you look at the data model right now in my file, since we have added so many different tables here, okay, so if I just show you the data model the way it is, have a look. This is your data model. Look at that. That's our data model. This is also a simple data model. You have two different tables connected together, forming something there. But look at your data model here. Would you really go and, want to work with this sort of a data model? We don't want to do that, but let's go ahead and create this as a fresh new file. And we want to understand what is happening, when to go ahead and work with that particular data model, when to connect those two tables. These are the questions that you need answers to. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's get into our new file. Now, why is Power BI doing this? Why is Power BI already creating these many different connections, or I would say relationship between the tables? Why is it doing all of this? The reason being, there is a property that is already enabled, which is actually letting all this happen automatically. So have a look. Let me go to this option here. File, options and settings, and then options. Okay, so I've just clicked on file menu, options and settings, and then option. When I go ahead and open this options dialog box, it's going to give me a bunch of options. And what you should go look for is the data load under current file. So we are working with the file. Yes, that's our current file. So under that current file, just go to data load. There is data load here as well, but I don't want you to go look into that. We want to go to current file data load. When you click on this current file data load, you'll see a section called as relationships. And what is happening here? There is this import relationship from data source enabled. Can you see that? I'll just zoom in a little bit. You'll understand this better. Import relationships from the data source on the first load. So this is checked, and what happens by default is when you bring in those tables from the data sources, it is going to be connected automatically by understanding that relationship, and it is trying to do that from the source system. It is understanding that relationship from there and trying to import the tables plus the relationship, and that is what is happening here. It can also, Power BI can also go ahead and detect the relationships automatically, and when this happens, you're just letting this particular data model go for a toss. And you're just dangerously playing this game, because a lot of times the tool can give you a good, nice data model, or it can also completely devastate your data model, and you don't want all of that to happen. So do not let the tool control your data model. Do not let it detect these relationships and build these relationships. You want to have a control over the data model, right? Imagine this. Let's say you're driving a car. What do you want to do? Would you like to go ahead and control the car, or should you let the car control you? You should not let the machine control you. So do not let these things create relationships for you. You may want to go ahead and uncheck all of these properties. You don't want to import the relationship from the data source. Maybe that's a good option. That's, the relationships are already built in the data source. You may want to just go ahead and import it. That's good, but still, you want to make sure that you are controlling certain things here in the data modeling side. I will tell you why that is important. That's what is going to be the discussion for the next 1 hour. So that's what we will go ahead and do. You can also have the tool auto detect all these relationships. That is again something that I don't want you to do, because like I said, you don't want the car control you while you're driving. That's not the way you want to go perform this operation. So the best practice is, as soon as you come into a new file, you open a new file, I want you to go to file, options and settings, and then options. And first of all, turn off these two options. These are not good options for you. These are really going to make or break your entire data model. So it is better to build the relationship whenever and wherever you want it. I don't want you to go ahead and have these checked. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and say okay here. If I were to debug or decode this sort of data model, look at this data model. Can you go ahead and do that? Yes or no? It is easy to build the data model if you want to connect all these tables the way you want it. Creating that one simple relationship is all going to be easier rather than decoding where is what, which table connects to what, and all of that is going to be very, very difficult. So that's why I say do not have that property checked. You want to uncheck those property and then getting started with loading your data. I want you to understand that it can really make or break your data model. So you want to have all the control, not the other way around. Now, let's go ahead and load all three tables together. And we will look at the reason why we need this data model to be established here, why we need that relationship between the tables, and what is the outcome of that. So let's go ahead and connect to our sample superstores file one more time. Let's go to our dataset. Let's see. Sample superstore. I'll just open this particular detail here. So let's go load all of these three tables. Okay, let's load all three tables. You will notice that there is issue with your people and returns table, yes or no. So what we will do is we will go ahead and fix that and then load our table, okay, into Power BI. So let's go ahead and say transform data. Did I load it? Okay, transform data is what I clicked on. And I want to maximize this. So use first row as header. That's the only issue here. People table, use first row as header. Okay. Let's close and apply and then come out of this particular. It is trying to create the data model. See this? It is going to go do all of that sort of a checking, but we have disabled all those relationship building. So it will not happen. Okay. Now if I go to the data model view, no tables are connected. It's a good sign because we now get to choose how these tables are to be connected. All right. Yes, to some extent, I would say Power BI can do this job as well, like you, but you want to do this all the time. That's why I'm just reiterating these things again and again. Okay, let's understand a scenario. Let's come up with a scenario and understand why is this required in this particular case. So let's say, for example, I have a small table. There is a table visual. Okay, you can add a small visual, this visual called as table visual, to your report view. And what we will do is we'll just go take region and we'll take sales into this view. So I have region and sales taken into the table view. The values are very small, very minute. I can't really read them. So I'll just go ahead and go to this section here that says format your visual. And then I will go ahead and increase the font size for values. Let's say save 25 points. And then I'll go ahead and increase the column header as well. Let's go ahead and do 25 there as well. So I'll get something like that. I'm just increasing the font size, formatting the values. That's it. Now, let's say, for example, I'm looking at this, or maybe your CEO is looking at it and he is impressed with what we are getting or what we are making from the Western region. The sales coming from Western region really impresses your boss. He is happy. The Central region is equally doing good and Eastern region are all performing good. But look at your Southern region. Southern region has given you the least amount of sales out of all 4 regions, and your boss wants to know why. The question is, why are we not getting enough sales from Southern region? It's good enough, but not that good enough. So your boss asks questions. Okay, you know, as a developer, you should go ahead and add some more details here. He wants to see who is managing these region. In the view, he wants to go ahead and have the information about all the managers for this particular detail. Is that clear? Yeah. If that's the case, where is our manager information lying? Where is our manager information? It's inside the people table, if you remember. Yes, we have the manager's information. Now, let's go ahead and grab our manager's information, drop it into this particular visual, and we will get it. Yes or no? So if I go ahead and take my manager's information, drag and drop it onto the visual, hoping to get this information mapped properly, when I do that, look what happens here. What is happening? It is giving you an error and it says something. It says it can't determine the relationship between the fields. Let's go ahead and click on see details. And you see that it can't determine the relationship between the fields. That's what it says. But let's go ahead and read this. Can't display the data because Power BI can't determine relationship between two or more fields. Let's go back to our data model. Power BI is not able to understand that there is region that we have taken into our visualization. We have sales that we have taken into our visualization. These were giving you the right details because they are coming from the same table. They are all related. If it is all summed up, yes, it can give you all that information. But as soon as you bring in the information, the manager's information, and tag it along with the two columns that you already have, things go for a toss. You're not able to go and understand why things are going wrong because Power BI does not know how to get to the manager's information. Yes or no? There is no connection between the table, no information about how can I go and relate these two tables together or bring in the right manager detail against the region. What should Power BI do to go ahead and give you this information? So there is a disconnect here if you're understanding this. Yeah, that is what is causing the issue. You are bringing in the detail from a different table altogether, and there is no clue for Power BI to go ahead and understand how to go ahead and marry the information together, how to go ahead and map these informations together. This is where, Power BI is kind of lagging the idea, the knowledge in order to get to those information. Otherwise, everything is just fine. Yeah. So how do I go do this? I'll have to tell Power BI, hey Power BI, you'll have to go into this table, look for region column. And if there is a match with this particular region column on this other side, then get me the manager's information. Yeah. This is how you should be going ahead and doing this. All right. So let's see how to do this. You have to create a relationship between the tables to tell Power BI that this is how you will be able to get to those details, and we create a relationship between our table. Now, how to create this relationship? The easiest way to create this relationship, and there are two ways of doing it. The easiest way to creating a relationship is click on this column, drag it and drop it onto the other column that you see, where you can match this information. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm taking this region information. Let's say that the region is equal to south. Let's say there is southern region here as well, and this is managed by someone called as Cassandra Brandau. Okay, so if there is a match that can happen between these two information, then yes, I can get to my manager's information. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? So this is what I have to tell Power BI as well. So what I'll do is I'll create a relationship between these two columns so that if there is a value called south and it can match here, then I can get to my manager's information. Yeah. So let's just do this. Click, drag it, and then drop it on top of this region. Don't drop it on managers. Can you see a dotted line come up? I'm not able to zoom in properly. Okay. I hope you're seeing a dotted line come up. Yes. So when you see that dotted line, you want to leave the column there, and that will be creating a relationship based on the highlighted column, the one in the dotted lines. Okay. So you just want to drop it on top of this, and look what happens here. It opens up a new dialog box. Have you seen this set of information anywhere? Have you seen this anywhere? Join, merge. Very good. Yes. It's creating a join between these two tables. So there is going to be a join or some sort of a relationship between this table created. It's purely a join for sure. And we will get to these details and other details for sure. We will understand them. But this is what is happening. Now, how do you want to join this? You have to choose those columns to tell Power BI that, hey, you want to go and look for the information in this selected column. And that's how you can get to those values. Yes or no? So the west from here should match from west here, and if there is a match, it can get you the manager's information. So that's how we want to do this. So let's go ahead and save this. Region and region selection looks good. That's how we are trying to relate these two tables, and I'll just go ahead and say save. So when I do that, there is a relationship created between these two tables. Yes, got it? Now if I hover onto this relationship, what is happening? It is highlighting. And it is telling you that region from the orders table is getting linked with region from the people table. And that is what is happening when you hover onto the relationship here. Okay. So that highlight is actually telling you how these two tables are related. This is the easiest way to create a relationship. Right click, let's go ahead and delete that. Let me do this one more time just for your understanding. Click, drag and drop it on top of this column wherever you want to see the match. Region from this should match with region here, and save all of that. That's more than enough. Let's go ahead and say save, and that is going to create a relationship between these two tables and give you the information this way. So this was the easiest way to create this relationship. What you can do is you can go to this manage relationships on top. Click on manage relationship. We will try to create a relationship between those two tables. So we want to go create a new relationship. Yes, click on that green button. And it's the same thing that you have done with the join or merge operation that we talked about. Go to those two tables that you want to go ahead and do the relationship between. So I'll just go say orders table and the people table, and it will automatically identify the columns. If it is not highlighting these columns and telling you that, hey, this is the column you want to go by, then you may want to go ahead and select those two columns. Okay. So in this case, the highlight happens and selection happens on these columns automatically. But if it is not happening, I would like you to go ahead and take a moment to clearly dictate Power BI what are the columns based on which you want to go ahead and relate these two tables. Let's not worry about all of this. We'll look into that in a while, but let's go ahead and save this. See, this orders table region column is getting linked with people tables region column. You'll get this like 2 or 3 windows coming up, and you'll have to confirm everything, close it, and then your relationship gets created. Okay, good. I'll just delete this relationship. I'll go back to the view, and I want to just kind of get rid of this managers from here. So as of now, what is happening? When you add your managers information, it is not working because we did not have a relationship initially, and hence the error. Yes, but we will create a relationship now. Let's go back and create that relationship that we just talked about. Let's save all of this information and create that relationship, and you can see that it is clearly denoting that region from both the tables are getting connected. Very good. Now Power BI has a way to look up this information from one table to the other and get to the managers information. If I go back, if I drag the managers information now into the table, look what happens. Look at the magic that happens here. You'll be able to go ahead and map those values properly. And that's how beautiful and how powerful these things can be. And you're able to now bring in the information from two different tables together in a single visual by just creating a relationship between the tables. That's the reason why we go for a data model.